Sorry, this is a Gamers Nexus video about gaming chairs. It's called Office Chair versus Gaming Chair Roundup and Review. I've watched this video. As you can see, I did not like it. Whenever I say anything positive about gaming chairs, this video is linked to me. I pretty much dislike everything said in this video. And not just because I'm like some crazy gaming chair fanatic, because I'm not even using a gaming chair right now. I'm using the Herman Miller M-Body, which is like a $1,500 chair, but I do have a ton of experience with gaming chairs. There's like 9 of them sitting in my living room right now, unfortunately, because I review them. And there are some that I really, really like, and there's some that I think are really, really bad. Even in this $1,500 chair, there are things that I like about my Secret Lab chair better than this chair. And in a perfect world, if this room was big enough, I would have them both sitting in here, and depending on what I'm gonna do, I would swap out for what is most appropriate for what I'm gonna do. And that's kind of the point. The basis of ergonomics is analyzing someone's body history and body type and current like physical state, and creating an environment that enables them to work at their specific task the most efficiently and pain-free way that they can. So an ergonomic chair for an office worker is going to look different than an ergonomic chair for a dentist. So to say that one chair is what everyone needs to use for it to be ergonomic is ridiculous. And to say that an office chair is just immediately ergonomic is also ridiculous. I'm going to use my knowledge as a physical therapy assistant in the Army to explain why I don't like this video.
Yeah, f this chair. Yeah, so this is the stupid Vertigear piece of shit.
How do you really feel about it?
I hate it. I really hate these chairs. I hate everything about them. Concrete L.
We're digging into the topic of office versus gaming chairs.
There's the Herman Miller
Aeron.
Aeron.
Our office with chairs of all varieties to put this roundup together. We even approached the factory and got pricing on our very own Gamers Nexus gaming chair, just to see what it really costs to get these chairs made. Gaming chairs are often lazy, lacking innovation, and entirely comprised of copycat designs that relegate their manufacturers to being nothing more than a sticker factory.
You could say the exact same thing for office chairs, by the way.
Peel and stick, a new stick.
And that goes for
onto the
both
chair
gaming
each
chairs
day,
and office
and
chairs.
that's your product. We're tired of gaming chair press releases talking about 4D armrests and racing seats. So it's time to talk about why you shouldn't buy a gaming chair. Thermals don't mix up additional. When we posted a rant on Twitter and the YouTube community page a while ago about Corsair's then new gaming chair, which came with a press release. Most of the press releases for gaming chairs sound something like this. The chair is described as a racing seat, like those extremely uncomfortable 5-point harness seats that are built to hold you in place in the
Funny that, you know, you would find the most aggressive version of that to compare it to, but it's not that. Now, on the topic of press releases for a gaming chair, who the f cares? A press release for literally any product is obviously, the whole purpose is to generate hype and to just like say good things about it, because you're a business and you're trying to sell and you're trying to generate excitement for your product. But how much excitement can you really build for a chair?
like those extremely uncomfortable 5-point harness seats that are built to hold you in place in the event of a high force crash. And then it's sold so you can sit in it and type on a keyboard. The chair is claimed as cherished by many an esports team. It probably has broken the laws of physics and somehow has a 4-dimensional armrest because they move in 4 different directions and thus can traverse the space-time continuum.
They're creating this big problem, and they're basically inflating, you know, every little detail about this. It's frustrating.
And thus can traverse the space-time continuum.
I know they're trying to be funny.
They are the hardest armrests known to man and have invariably hurt our elbows. This chair also uses so-called premium leather. It has 2.5-inch casters that might even have a color accent, and those are attached to a 5-point base with a small logo at the end of each point. The chair has
And what are they trying to say here? It's like there's color on the wheels, and that is ridiculous. And 5-point base, as if like that's not every single chair. I don't know. It's like they're reading the press release or reading the description of the chair and trying to say it in a way that is just like, this is so ridiculous. But I'm still not seeing anything that's not the same. You can't find the same thing in office
Those
chairs.
are attached to a 5-point base with a small
And a
logo
logo?
at the end of each point. The chair has a pillow that buckles through the seatbelt straps on the frame and another that's bound to the top. Yet these pillows somehow cause more spinal discomfort than they solve, and the elastic band eventually droops and leaves the headrest pillow limply hanging.
Now, I will say I really hate the gaming pillows. I hate it. I think that it should be internal. I don't know. Well, I do know why. If it's internal, it's more expensive. And these chairs are $189. They're not going to go through and do internal lumbar support. But that's the difference between a nice gaming chair and a cheap one. But they just said something that, will be a reoccurring theme that cause more spinal pain or discomfort than are you telling me that you're being forced to use this pillow? They're trying to build this idea in your head. These pillows make you hurt. These pillows are going to hurt you.
The chair has a distinct shape and is marketed as, quote, unique. Yet its unique design also happens to be claimed by literally every single other chair of its kind. And finally, it's called a gaming chair, and it costs somewhere between $280 and $500 for a name brand. We were able to get some sales data from Amazon sales through our sleuthing and learned that the video
Pillows
game
have
chairs
5G.
category has seen approximately 1.2 million units sold in the past 9 months, up 101% year over year, thanks to...
In the past 9 months, when was this video made? December 28th, 2020. What was happening December 28th, 2020? What was happening all of 2020? COVID was happening all of 2020. Everyone was stuck at home. So you're telling me that computer chairs sold more in the last 9 months during work from home and lockdown, shutdowns, COVID. Okay. What are you trying to tell me there? This is bad or this is
people
unexpected?
working from- The retail sales revenue was about $161 million in that period.
They're basically saying
according
they're
to the
popular
source
and they
who
make a lot of
was able
money
to help us get
and
this
they
information.
charge more
That's
for them
also
because they
up
call them
over
gaming
100%.
chairs, which is
For
true.
perspective,
And
gaming
you throw
keyboards
gaming
did
on
about
anything
1.5
and
million
it's
units in that
people
time.
are trying to cash in on
that group,
gaming.
The top selling chair was the GT Racing gaming chair, one of the cheaper units that's priced at $150. But the data we collected from sources suggests that this chair has done over $11 million in revenue for the year. Most of you know by now that we're not big fans of the Fanant approach to, quote, making a gaming chair. The companies have become...
When something is cheap, that's going to be the most popular item because that's what's in most people's budget. So $150, yeah, a chair, cool, let me get it. But that chair is going to be shit. That is just too low of a price point for a brand new chair to get anything of quality.
Glorified,
but it's always going to be the most popular
they
thing.
desperately clamor over one another to cash in on a fat. The assembly lines are staffed with people embroidering or sticking a logo onto something that's otherwise mass-produced and generic gamer-y, mostly black color. But there's one place that gaming chairs can actually add a lot of value, for now at least, until the office chair companies figure it out. That place is in cross-branding and licensing of known game figures and artwork. They could also start differentiating material selection and actually improving on things rather than buying from the same supplier as their competitors. But that seems like it would take effort, and paying a licensing fee is easier, and still a legitimate advantage that gaming chairs have. For those where looks count, it's an upper hand that office chairs are only just starting to learn with the Logitech partnerships. Everybody wants to get their margin from a product that costs $150 to make at the absolute high end and ship, and sells for $400 or $500 for those. Those numbers, by the way, they're real. There is a company out there selling $400 to $500 chairs that we won't name here that's paying about $150 to get them made and shipped.
Right there. First, they tell you this is the most that they cost to make, and they sell for $500. But then they're saying, oh, that number's real because we checked with one company. So is it that is the most, or that is the price that you got from that one company? But they're trying to apply all of this to just like every gamut, the whole range of available gaming chairs. Do I think that they are marketed for gamers with the colors and flashy, designs and the similar design? Yeah, for sure. It is. And I don't like that. In a sense, yes, they all follow the same kind of silhouette or the same kind of profile, and that is a legitimate criticism. It is just a style of chair. People like that style. If they wanted something else, they would just buy, something else that aligns with what they're looking for. That's what they want. That's what they like. So If you don't like it, then don't buy one of these chairs. But because they look the same or because they follow the same design, it's not a reason to say that these chairs are bad and that you shouldn't buy it. It's frustrating.
We contacted insiders at some of the biggest companies selling gaming chairs. We asked one such insider at a major chair company to answer some anonymous questions. Our first, why does everyone do this, and why hasn't anyone tried to make something better? The answer was, word for word, quote, they know this trend won't last long. Everyone just wants to make a quick buck while it lasts, end quote. The anonymous source then encouraged us to make this video to push for improvement in the market. So we broke out the...
They're like, an anonymous source from an anonymous company is saying that this is bad and that the trend won't last. When is the trend going to fall off? Because gaming chairs have been around for a pretty long time at this point. Second, this one company, we won't name it, buys the same chair from this retailer or this manufacturer that makes a bunch of chairs for everybody. You're just using a lot of anonymous, sources and insider knowledge that you're not willing to share, so we just have to take you at your word for it. But you're telling us in a way that is like, this is fact, this is what's going on, and everybody does this.
In making a chair, by which we meant changing the color a bit and adding our logo, much like many of the companies on the market are doing now. One of them is located in Zhejiang in China. It's a province, and they're a major manufacturer of chairs. The company told us that it was interested in making our chair that we're never bringing to market, to be very clear on that. And the company also told us that it OEMs for MSI SteelSeries and apparently claims that it OEMs for Cooler Master, although it didn't really sound like they actually do. But they had a prototype that they made at some point.
So all the companies he just named, OEMs for MSI, Cooler Master, and something else, none of those companies are chair companies. And this is something that I will agree with them. If you are buying a chair from a company that is not a gaming chair or a chair company, I don't know why, did you think that they just like opened a second business and created like a warehouse in a factory to start making chairs? Probably not. Yeah, probably they're just having some third party make it. And I don't know why you would expect it to be, like its own chair. I don't know why a company that makes computers or motherboards or whatever would all of a sudden start being like, you know what? I feel like our skills here at making motherboards really translates well to ergonomics and office chair design. We should start making chairs. That's really what our final goal always was. No, they see an opportunity to brand a chair and sell that. And do I think that that's wrong? Yeah. Do I think you're going to get something generic? Yes. Do I think that it's probably not going to be the greatest quality or it's just going to be like a kind of generic chair? Yes. But again, that's kind of what you're getting. If you buy some totally unrelated product from a company that doesn't have anything to do with that, you're buying it because you like that company. You're not buying it because you think you're going to get the best chair. So a chair from Razer, that's actually interesting because I would expect that from Razer. I would expect like a branded, like a reskin chair, but they didn't. So I don't know what they did that was different, but it's interesting that theirs isn't like that. Even though I agree with them, the reason why it makes me mad is because they're taking that logic and they're just like, well, everyone must do that. All gaming chairs are the same way.
So when we say all these chairs come from the same places, the same factories, same factory floors, we really do mean it. A lot of them...
God damn it. That's literally what I just said is why this makes me angry. They just like confirmed what I just said when I say that they all, they're speaking in like absolutes. They all come from the same place. They all come from the same factory. I mean it because I found out that one company does do that.
Do genuinely come from the same places, or at least source the materials from the same places to be assembled elsewhere. The quote we received from the company, though, was what you see here. We asked them to customize one of their models.
That chair on the left looks like the cheapest chair that you can buy on Amazon right now.
Time traversing.
Actually, no, the second chair. That chair right there looks exactly like the Hope Racer chair that I reviewed.
We also upgraded
exactly like it
from a plastic one.
And that is a $200 chair.
Gas lift for our American market, which they recommended, by the way, and we were quoted at 400 units. Cost was $75 per unit before negotiations.
So $75 for this chair, and I can tell you that looks exactly like the Hope Racer chair. Look, let me real quick. Sorry, I happen to have this Um, this chair right here. You look at the armrest and like the button there. Look at the seat. I can tell this is like that cloth material. There's little details that are different about it, but it is very, very similar. They're saying it'll cost $75 to make this for 400 chairs, right? This chair is $200, but they're gonna talk about it like this chair sells for $500 or $400. It does not. It does not. Anyway. Continuing on.
We didn't waste time negotiating since we're not actually wasting our time making this product, but a manufacturer familiar with the product told us that $65 is doable for this spec. Now, of course, only 400 of these fit in a 40 HQ shipping container, which we'd have to rent, and putting those on the ocean isn't particularly cheap either. That also takes 45 to 60 days, so there's more time cost involved. Warehousing a huge chair, even a bad one, is also expensive in square footage cost if it doesn't move. Further still, manufacturers selling through Newegg and Amazon bake massive retailer margins into their MSRP. Despite a $75 cost to make this product, plus some shipping cost, Newegg will request a net PPM, or net pure margin, of something fairly high, like 35% on average, after accounting for any free shipping or subsidized shipping that they offer.
Again, they're doing this thing where they're just applying the numbers that they got for that one chair to everything, and they're showing you every chair. So they're saying, oh, despite being $65 to $75 to make and some shipping, which by the way, shipping on 400 chairs is going to be insane. All right, it's not a by the way also shipping. It's huge. The cost to store it and to ship it and to do like all the administrative work of like handling orders and sending them and customer support and all those things, 35% doesn't even sound like that much for all of that work. Still, even after all of that, that chair can be bought for $200. So it's still not this giant markup, but they're making it sound like, well, despite only being $75 for all these brands only spend $75.
Everyone thinks their Amazon
just
shipping is free, and then complains
disingenuous
when
argument.
having to pay an independent seller to ship a large object across the country. But you're still paying for it at Amazon. It's just somewhere else. Everyone raises the price of the product. If Newegg is only at 25% PPM, for instance, the manufacturer then has to give a 10% rebate back in our example, often in the form of MDF, or Marketing Development Fund. So to help illustrate things here, depending on the size of the manufacturer and the volume they're doing, in speaking with one of the companies that does make chairs, a $200 MSRP gaming chair sold on Amazon would mean Amazon's cost should be somewhere around $100, and then a 20% MDF might be needed beyond that. So this means that the manufacturer would need its BOM to be under $80 in order to not lose money, and that doesn't count things like the actual time cost on it, and if they do any, although none of them really seem to, R&D cost, and then things like shipping or import. So
you see, they keep throwing in these little things. They keep throwing in these little things that slowly build this idea of a chair in your mind. Even a bad chair, or the R&D costs, if they even do it. It's like these small little jabs at it to just continue building it. And what they're basically... Okay, I'll just let us finish.
You shouldn't buy a gaming chair, but we wanted to illustrate that although the pricing does look insane when you just look at the BOM, there's a bit more to it than that. That said, a lot of these chairs are still absolutely insane margin, and then the ones that run cheaper are really high volume, as we showed earlier. So the reason we think you shouldn't buy a game...
So essentially all of that to say that there's markup on chairs, which there's markup, and I've said this before, there's markup on everything that you buy. Everything that you buy is marked up. That is business. That is how people run businesses. Their argument then is that the markup is too high. But even using the numbers that they just gave me with the chair that they showed, which I can tell you side by side, it's the same as this Hope Racer chair. It's not even that big of a markup. But the reason why they're bringing it up is because there are some chairs that are $500. But those chairs are not costing $75 to make, but they're trying to plant it in your head that like we checked it out, and pretty much all of them are made in the same place, or at least they use the same source for their materials, and this one costs $75. So they're trying to plant it in your head that these chairs are $75, but some companies sell them for $500.
gaming chair isn't just because of the price, it's because they suck. That's the main one. The issues arise when you're paying $400 to $500 to a direct seller, bypassing the retailers. Similarly priced office chairs, meanwhile, often end up more comfortable, ergonomically sound, and supportive of the body. Today,
Not true.
We're comparing this list of chairs.
So that
We have 2
everything you
models
just
of
said was
Vertigear gaming
subjective.
chairs and about 6 total in the office. We've had others in the past and still do, like Noble chairs, but fortunately, even just 2 models is enough to understand functionally all of the so-called gaming chairs on the market.
Let's go ahead and rewind that.
6 total in the office. We've had others in the past.
So they have had chairs from Vertigear, and then they said, we've had others in the past from Noble Chairs. So they've named 2 brands, and then they have the audacity to say this.
And still do, like Noble chairs, but fortunately, even just 2 models is enough to understand functionally all of the so-called gaming chairs on the market.
Just having tried 2 gaming chairs from 2 different brands is basically enough research and enough information to know about every chair on the market. Do I even need to explain why that is so ridiculous? It didn't register when you watch this video.
They're basically all the same.
They're basically all the same.
Corsair, MSI, NZXT, or HyperX logo, but we could just stick one on and you'd get the idea. Miller Aeron chair that we bought brand new for $1,200 US.
Okay, I hate this chair.
We will also be considering used Aeron chairs, which were priced by liquidators.
Tried a car from Hyundai and one from GM, so I pretty much understand everything. Yeah, it's just the most. I don't know how he could like respect himself after saying that sentence.
The best chair for people serious about their posture. We
Serious
also got
about
an
my
Ergo
posture.
Chair 2 from Autonomous.ai. Which is about $350 and is branded as an office chair that claims to, quote, provide back support and prevent back pain and improve sitting posture. We bought an $80 chair from Amazon, and it's similar to an Amazon Basics chair that was sold just a few months ago. This one is called the Smug Desk 0581F.
The Smug Desk seems like a very appropriate chair for this office.
Another chair we purchased was the Comine Mesh Ergonomic Office Chair. We paid about $230 for it originally, but it's $280 now. Because chairs are so subjective, it's tough to review them in a roundup. So we did some internal qualitative analysis.
So you do understand that chairs are subjective. I see. Okay.
And part of this involved blindly testing the team. I assembled all of the chairs in a separate room and then had each team member come out blindfolded to try the chair out and attempt to identify
the chair
2
has
things.
5 legs stand.
One,
oh my
which
God.
chair did they think it was? I had told them the options, but they hadn't ever seen some of them. And then 2, how much did they think it costs based only on how it felt to sit in? So some of these chairs were never seen by the team. The Vertigear ones had been seen by
That's a
everyone
problem
who's
too with
used
this
them
like
here.
blind test.
And the results were pretty interesting. Here's a short sequence of
the
some
price
of the best
is
thoughts.
not.
If you compress your eyes,
It doesn't all go into the feel of the chair or like the comfort of the chair. You know, I did that video that compared gaming chairs at $100, $200, $300, $400, up to $500, and the biggest difference wasn't always in the comfort. It was in the amount of adjustability, the quality of the materials, and the hardware. You know what I mean? So unless these people are sitting in the chair blindfolded, then they're like, let me just reach down here and touch the base. Yep, that's metal. Let me reach underneath the chair. Oh, yep, that feels like a pretty solid mounting system for the armrest and for the tilt mechanism. How long did it take you to assemble this chair? Oh, only 30 minutes, but that one took you 2 hours? Oh, okay. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot more that goes into it. So
hard enough, does blood stop flowing to them?
Okay. God damn it. Turn image
I think
stabilization
in
on,
this
please.
position, the standard position.
Yeah.
Standard position.
Yeah, look at that. The thing that I love that people say is office chairs force you to sit with good posture, and that's why they're better than gaming chairs. And I understand that he's just slouching on purpose.
I think in this position, if the seat feels too small, I would put this one at bottom 2. It seems
Bottom
too
2, that was the Herman Miller Aeron, by the way.
This one goes back the furthest so far.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm not a chair reviewer by trade.
Oh, you're not a chair reviewer by
that.
trade. That's good. This is a good
this
thing
is
that
a
you're
good
in this
chair.
30-minute long video
I think I
that's
would
trying to
say
convince
this
people
one
that gaming
is
chairs are
less
bad.
expensive, but that doesn't mean it's uncomfortable. This is the smallest chair so far.
Don't quit your
I don't want to say this is a $60 one just because it's the tiniest of all the chairs. Yeah, I like this one. It's like got like a rubberized. I don't feel like I'm sliding downhill when I sit in it. This is a very sweaty chair to sit in. I'll put this on the bottom because I want to replace it.
First one is over this way.
Okay. So essentially, they're just sitting in these chairs, and again, these chairs are
Not
all
feel
different
expensive?
sizes.
Ooh. All right.
Ooh,
I'm
it
done.
reclines.
I just I sit in it and it's fine. I'm not being poked in annoying places.
The Herman Miller Aeron, the reason why I hate it so much is because the lumbar support in that chair feels like a brick in your back. It feels like a damn brick. Second reason I hate it, and you can see right here, look at this dude's hips pushed up against the side of this chair. This right here is like hard plastic. The center of the chair is mesh and it's very comfortable, but the edges are hard plastic. And the reason why I dislike this chair so much, even at its largest size, is because my hips push into it and it hurts like crazy. And if you tried to put your leg underneath your other leg, right, which is how I sit a lot, your ankle would be sitting on this hard frame right here. And it's like you're putting yourself into a leg lock. It hurts so bad. So the reason I dislike this chair is because it pokes me in all sorts of weird places. But he's like, oh, this office chair, and it's not poking me like that damn gaming chair that's
All right. This
got
definitely
no
feels
hard
like a cheap one.
pieces.
This is the least complicated.
Least complicated.
Managed to find controls for. Yeah, this chair.
Like, you don't need to be blindfolded to tell the difference between a gaming chair and an office chair as soon as you sit in it. Not to mention, you need a bigger chair, dude. You're not small. Look at his thigh. It's going over the edge of the chair. This chair is too small for you, dude. This is a small chair. Look, his head is like way past that. And if I sat in the nicest chair in the world and it was too small for me, it would be uncomfortable and I would hate it. And I'm not saying that if he had a bigger gaming chair that he would love it, but you're not doing yourself any favors and you're not truly testing whether a chair is comfortable if you're sitting in one that's too small for you.
Yes, this is the stupid Vertigear piece of
The immediate takeaway from this is that obviously this isn't enough to review a chair, but it's an
At least you
interesting
know that.
experiment. And some chairs take a really long time to properly evaluate. For instance, the cheapest chair we bought felt fine initially, but after a week of use, it had mostly flattened in the cushion
Okay.
and become one of the least comfortable chairs that
be
we
expected.
purchased. Now, 8 months later, that particular chair, it's akin to sitting on a piece of metal or stiff cardboard, even though it felt fine originally. On the opposite end of things,
cheap
the
chair didn't hold
$1,200
up.
Aeron chair
Wow.
had some of the most critical reception initially when the blindfolds were in play. Several of our team members actually thought that the Ergo Chair 2, which isn't mesh at the bottom, but they were trying not to cheat by feeling for that, thought that the Ergo 2 was the Aeron chair upon first contact, which, if anything, should flatter the Ergo Chair 2. The combing mesh chair also got high
The
praise
Ergo
from the
Chair
team.
2, which is just a
I would say it's
rebranded
in the
office
top
chair, by the way, that you can buy for
most
half the
expensive.
price on like some
Maybe
other
top
website.
2.
This seems nice. I'll say 500.
I would put this one at bottom 2.
I'll say 250 for this one.
Maybe be an expensive one or a knockoff of an expensive one. I would say knockoff of an expensive one.
Let's start with these so-called gaming chairs, then move
The
on to the others.
so-called gaming
Every gaming
chairs.
chair we've used here, despite the costs, has been an overpriced, shoulder-constricting future back problem at its core.
Every chair that we've tried here, you mean the two different brands that you've already shown to be too small for you. If a chair is causing you back problems, either one, you've got some physical issues that you need to work out, or two, the chair is not right for you. Is it causing back problems in everybody who sits in it? Because if it's causing back problems in everyone who sits in it, no matter what size or shape, well then that might be an issue. But the only person who really, they only showed two people who really disliked it. One was because it didn't breathe, which it's a leather chair, and that is very valid, but you know, you're not sweating the instant you sit in it. He just knew that it was a gaming chair because they feel very different. And two, the guy who was too damn big for it, who already hated it.
Despite the costs, has been an overpriced, shoulder-constricting future back problem at its core. At a product level, there's zero
Overpriced.
innovation, And while a
Zero
lot of companies are
innovation, all of
guilty of
them.
failing to advance their products, the guiltiest include component brands, SIs, and RGB makers who don't even try to add something different from their competition.
That's because they don't make chairs, you shithead. I'm sorry. Okay, let me calm back down. They're saying that Corsair is not adding any innovation to their chairs. That's because they don't make chairs. Thermaltake doesn't make chairs. Why would you buy a chair from Thermaltake and expect innovation?
It's shameless. The name of the factory might as well be Control-C, Control-V. No one in the office liked our Vertigear or Noble gaming chairs when compared to even a $200 office chair. And that's against $400+ gaming chairs. So to share the opinions of people working here, let's go through a couple of shots from the blind test we did.
Okay, here we go. This is what I wanted to see.
Ew. Oh.
Ew.
I know this chair.
No, this does not feel expensive. This feels like Vertigear.
They already know the chair.
So do you
They
like
already
it?
have experience with the chair.
Yeah, I mean, I hate it as much as the.
Again, look, he's still too big for this chair. His thighs are bumping into the sides of it. They already know this chair. They already have a bias towards this chair. They could not tell which one of these chairs was nice and which one wasn't. They said, oh, I prefer this chair. But that chair, then they later on said, is flat and, you know, feels like concrete and didn't hold up. So I don't know what they're trying to say here, but they're trying very hard to show like gaming chair bad because we all hate it.
The other one. I couldn't tell them apart. One could
So
be Corsair. Well, I guess if it was Corsair, it'd have RGB and I'd be able to see it through the mask. But
the real problem we have with gaming chairs is that there's really no effort. It's not fair to say, but it's a chair, and ask how much you can innovate, because clearly office chair companies have it figured out.
$1,200 chair figured it out. Okay, yeah. It's fair to compare those two, I bet, yeah.
The Herman Miller Aeron, for instance, uses all mesh, something gaming chairs haven't really discovered yet.
Yes,
It
they
doesn't
have,
have
but
to be
not at the time of
$1,200
this
either.
video.
All three of our main office chairs, starting at $220 for one off Amazon, also have more intuitive controls to exactly position every aspect of the lockout or range of movement.
Wrong. More intuitive controls, but you got two controls here. Like every chair just kind of has these two controls here. Not to mention, what is more intuitive about adjusting your armrests and the back of the chair, which is what this is doing. You don't see any sort of controls here to adjust this armrest, right? So you're telling me that a button on the side of your chair that you can reach while you're sitting in it is more intuitive, is less intuitive than adjusting it back here. The controls in the bottom are the exact same thing as like a gaming chair. Where is the adjustability that they're talking about? This doesn't even look like an office chair that can adjust the seat depth, which is usually the main thing that an office chair has over a gaming chair. So what adjustability are they talking about?
Something that gaming chairs often only do with one lackluster lever. Many of the office chairs have
One lackluster lever. What are they talking about? Even the cheapest chair that I have, I think has two levers.
better wheels that are less destructive on carpets, have better bearings, the adjusters have more precision for posture and lumbar support, and some even have armrests that aren't this bullshit pretend wannabe rubberized material. Back when we reviewed the Noble Chair's Icon, the company argued with us that its armrests weren't as hard and elbow abusing as we said, claiming that they were soft. Like other gaming chairs we've tested though, they're hard as rocks plastic. These chairs
Okay. Do you guys see why I'm saying that this video is so incredibly biased? Did they go through and show you the adjustability of the gaming chair versus the adjustability of the office chair? Did they explain to you what an office chair allows you to adjust that a gaming chair does not allow you to adjust? Or did they just like blanket wash all gaming chairs as having the same adjustability and the lack of adjustability, and the office chair has everything? Did they show you how soft the armrest is compared to the office chair? And what the does hitting this with a hammer tell you about that?
chairs aren't particularly conducive to nerd sweat in a lawn-seated session either. The only thing less breathable than a Vertigear pleather chair is an NZXT case, but at least the NZXT case doesn't make you sweaty. Maybe the Thermaltake chair.
Yeah, tell that to my computer that makes this room 90 degrees. What are you talking about conducive to nerd sweat or gamer sweat? What is an office chair made out of? What is it, like antimicrobial mesh armrest or something?
Bandwork.
Like
Such a stupid idea after all. These chairs often have seats that are too deep, unintentionally encouraging slouching to the extreme, like the nearly prone position our editor Andrew used to assume when he used these chairs.
You're saying that the gaming chair makes you slouch because it's too deep, which by the way means that the chair would be too big for you. But then you show the person slouching in an office chair, which he has done in other office chairs as well. So it's not.
Being able to sit that
Goddamn,
far
I'm only
forward
halfway through
means
this
we
video. I'm
think
sorry.
a
I need to
higher
stop
likelihood
pausing.
of leaning in a way that's actually bad for your body. Not enough people take posture seriously when working or gaming, and that's something that needs to
Hey,
change.
Kuya, thank you for the sub,
seats on
man.
some models
Slouch
have
nice
also
and deep.
become flat with time.
Yeah. That guy looks like he's got perfect posture sitting in this chair, right?
And that needs to change. The seats on some models have also become flat with time, which means less support around the legs. The racing-like wings near the harness
Is that
holes
like
do the
standard
opposite.
real-life quality
They lift
control? I
and
guess
push
so.
our shoulders forward into
It's-
peak programmer neck posture. And this wasn't something we'd noticed as truly uncomfortable until we switched to better chairs. It's Stockholm Syndrome in action when you start to use these for a long time. Although we aren't doctors, these chairs tweak body posture and position enough that, as a company, we've made the decision to try and replace them with real office chairs at every desk where someone might sit for a long period of time. The Herman Miller Aeron chair is
We're not
next.
doctors,
It's iconic
but
and
we can
known to
tell that
most
it's
IT
tweaking
office
us, which it's
buildings
not.
in at least America, if not the world. It's also why, pre-pandemic, they could be easily had for $200 to $300 in good used condition from office liquidation sales. Back when our
Yeah, good
tweet
luck
landed
finding
on
it
the
for
front
$200,
page of
$300
Reddit
now.
complaining about gaming chairs, we noticed it was the most commonly recommended chair by the anti-gaming chair crowd. We bought one just to include it in this roundup because of that. There's definitely an executive effect on this chair. It's not just parts that are getting marked up. It's the fact that it ships pre-assembled and in a massive box. Of course, the shipping cost is disguised as free, but it's absolutely part of the $1,200 price tag we paid. That'd be a couple $100 to ship a box that size plus the assembly fee, but it's nice to wheel a chair out of a box and immediately be
It's
able
true.
to sit in it.
Herman
No
Miller
assembly
shipping their chairs
required,
fully
but
assembled
most
is
people
very
would
nice.
probably rather trade the time for the money.
But I could
In a
almost not
time-saving
get it through my
sense, there
door.
is a wide business audience that would rather pay for the service than pay with the time, so it's a trade. I've personally been using this chair for about 7 to 8 months now, purchasing it after we got fed up with gaming chairs and started this roundup. The Aeron chair definitely has the finest tuning available of all the chairs.
The Aeron
tested.
is a nice
Even
chair.
still,
I
sitting
just
in it
personally don't
after
like it.
First opening it, the immediate feeling was one of disappointment. It was sort of an
And I
well,
do
that's
agree
not
that when you sit in it
$1,200
immediately,
special.
even the M
The
body,
price makes it
it's
feel
not
like it's
something
going
that
to be
just jumps out at you like, oh
immediately
damn,
when
this
you
is
put
a
your
nice
ass
chair.
in the seat.
I think the
But it
Herman Miller
really
chairs
isn't.
are way
This chair took
overpriced
some
for
time
what
to
they
wear in,
they offer.
And it takes some tuning to really get it dialed properly. You have to try. It needs configuration, just like overclocking. The levers at the bottom can be adjusted to lock the back into new positions every couple degrees, which helps in forcing good posture. The chair's arms aren't
That's a phrase that I really hate. Forcing good posture. There's no one right way to sit. If you are sitting a certain way and it does hurt, well then yes, you need to make changes. But it's not just in how you sit. You're going to need to make changes to your muscular strength. You're going to need to stretch. You're going to need to do all sorts of things. And there's so many factors in your life that could be contributing to that. It's very rarely is it just my chair or how I sit. If you have neck pain because you're constantly sitting over like this, that's not your chair. What part of your chair is forcing you to do that? That is your monitor is not adjusted properly, or you just have bad habits. I can sit up straight in any chair.
they have some give in a way that's still supportive, and we'd classify these as significantly improved over all the others, even the separate memory foam cushions. The armrest height can be carefully tuned with a lever in the back.
Notice this only goes up and down. Do you see any sort of adjustment to move it forward and back, to diagonal, left and right? And I know that that might seem gimmicky to people who are in a gaming chair or don't like gaming chairs, but let me show you something. This chair only goes up and down and in and out. And a lot of times I run into this problem where I want to scoot forward, but my armrest, when adjusted in a way that supports my arms extending off of the desk, it prevents me from getting any closer to the chair or to the desk. If I were able to move the armrest back a little bit, I would be able to get closer to the chair or to the desk. It's not a gimmick. It's really helpful if you're trying to ergonomically set up your chair and your desk to the action that you're doing. That is the definition of ergonomic. It's allowing you to do your intended task in a safe, pain-free way. Even an expensive chair like this with all this crazy adjustment still lacks some basic adjustability. And if it lacks that, well, then you have to criticize that lack of adjustability the same way you criticize the gaming chair and its lack of adjustability with certain things. You need to be balanced on both sides, but this is not what they do with this.
And the mesh has lasted without any loss of elasticity over this past year or so. Unlike the cheaper of the mesh chairs we have, the mesh seat has remained taut and isn't sagging under load of nerds. With time, we've all come to appreciate it as being a technical best in positioning and forcing better posture.
And I'm sure that has nothing to do with the fact that you understand that it's a Herman Miller and it's $1,200. Because let me tell you, we had the same exact chair, the Herman Miller Aeron, in my physical therapy clinic in the hospital when I worked in Germany. That was a clinic full of physical therapy professionals and occupational therapy professionals. And I went to them and I said, hey, did you know that this chair is $1,200? And she's like, why? Really? I don't even like it. I guarantee you that they have a bias knowing that this is a Herman Miller Aeron and it's $1,200. Oh, it's my favorite one. Because in an office where no one knew the name and no one knew the price, they did not prefer that chair.
That far, even if they believe the long-term use is worth it.
The breathability, yeah, mesh is always going to be, it's always going to breathe the best.
Too much,
and that is like, yeah, that
rugged.
makes sense.
Cheaper
But the problem with you trade that breathability for that hard frame around.
So in a sense, these
Look at the camera work on office chairs and gaming chairs.
But that doesn't matter if you still can't afford it or justify it with so many other things in life that need to be paid for. This next chair is one that we've lovingly titled the Amazon chair. Although it's technically made by a different company,
the chair looks so
curiously
shit.
Similar to an Amazon Basics chair. It's the cheapest we bought, and it sells for between $60 and $90. This one is actually surprisingly comfortable for the...
It's curiously similar to another chair. Well, yeah, because the same way that you bash these gaming chairs for being made by the same manufacturer, this is the office chair equivalent. But I don't hear you talking about that, and I don't hear you talking about how much it was or was not marked up. Oh, it's surprisingly comfortable, even though you can see that this chair has no armrest adjustability. It only has one lever, which they, bash the gaming chair for. It doesn't look to have any sort of lumbar support except for just the shape of the chair. He's sitting in the chair in the background. Oh my God, he is. You've got all these chairs around and
after which time the cushion has sunken to meet what feels like a stiff cardboard base. This has been an issue true for the lightweight among us too. Patrick has the same issue of sinking to the cardboard as I do. After about a week of daily use, the chair was already showing signs of wear.
After a week,
no longer offered any comfort, and the chair.
Oh yeah, those armrests looked real plush.
That slowly turned into a feet-numbing superpower. You'll want to shift your weight a lot in this chair to prevent that issue from happening. The hardened plastic armrest began to cause discomfort in the elbows as well. There are several human factors issues at play with this chair. The first is its height, where all the other chairs can easily be raised to meet a standard 28 to 30 inch tall desk. With the chair height at about 21 to 22 inches, the Amazon chair maxes out at around 18 to 19 inches height at the top of the cushion, or an actual height closer to 17 since it compresses. That's 4 to 5 inches below where we need the chairs to be comfortably situated for what we consider to be an ideal ergonomic position with minimized negative impact to wrists. Other than that, the chair does offer a mesh back that seems to hold up, and the base is, to its credit, metal rather than plastic, making it presumably less likely to explode and send you flying to the floor. As for the wheels, they're causing damage to the carpet. The bearings are noticeably bad and they grind.
Ideal.
The verdict on this chair is that it seems better than literally nothing. I think, though, I'd rather sit on an exercise ball than this chair. This chair would mostly be an upgrade to someone sitting in a dining room chair right now or something similarly hard. We added $10 pads to it for the armrests, and it significantly improved the quality, but it doesn't fix the height issues or the adjustment
So you're
option.
telling me that a
This
cheap
chair
office
is
chair does
highly
not have
disposable and it's not
adjustability?
meant to last long. If you can afford it, buy something better.
Interesting.
It'll last longer and produce less waste.
Interesting,
in
because
the
I thought that
landfills,
even the
but also
cheapest office
feel
chair
better.
had more
If not,
adjustability
try
and
finding a
ergonomic
used office
support
chair that was better to
than the
begin with.
best gaming
That
chair.
said,
Isn't
despite
that
most of our
isn't
team
that-
not liking it, our
isn't that
GN
what they
store
said?
distributor loves chairs like this and has many of them. And Keegan said he'd prefer this chair to the gaming chairs, which he'd only give to his worst enemies. So
Oh,
your
wow.
mileage may vary.
If that wasn't the most biased freaking sentence, you would rather sit in this chair that has not enough adjustability, hard armrests that don't adjust, that you had to buy something for, no adjustability in the lumbar support, and the cushion was flattened in a week, you said, or you started seeing damage in a week, and it makes your legs go numb, but you still prefer this chair over the gaming chair. And you're going to tell me that that's not a biased opinion, or an opinion made out of spite.
For this chair to the gaming chairs, which he'd only give to his worst enemies. So your mileage may vary. The Comey mesh chair
it destroyed
is the
my
next one.
floor.
This was the first chair that we bought when we moved into the new office. So we've had it for about 2 years now. We paid $220 to $230.
This video was
for it,
edited from this
and
chair.
This is the
Oh,
only chair
damn.
that's been somewhat fought over. Whichever video editor comes in first for the day is the one who normally takes the chair. And if someone's out, it gets swapped away from that person's desk. We'll probably buy more eventually. The chair is entirely made of plastic, so it looks and feels cheap. But it's mesh material for the bottom and the back, and Keegan in particular likes it for keeping his posture. Patrick says he'd probably buy this chair for himself. I used this chair for about a year before swapping, but I swapped mostly because the wheels were destroying the carpet. Since I'm here the longest hours, it causes the most damage. The more normal hours the other guys work don't seem to have
I
that
bought
problem
these wheels
yet.
for
We recommend
my
an
Herman
aftermarket
Miller,
wheel
and
upgrade
I
for
hated
it, or
them.
maybe a plastic sheet to put under it. The chair has developed a loud creak with age, so it definitely requires some maintenance. But the mesh so far is holding up.
That's not even the same chair. This photo that they're showing is not the same chair. This is the same thing as the Respawn Spectre, and it's not the chair that they're showing in the video right now.
The chair wouldn't work well for heavier people, so we disagree with its claim that it can quote-unquote support 300 pounds. Maybe the plastic and the base can, structurally, but the mesh base will absolutely.
So your complaint about gaming chairs is that they all look the same and there's no innovation and they're all just reskins. And then you show me your favorite chair that you're saying that everyone really liked a lot, and you can't even show me the right Amazon listing for it because it looks so similar. You know, this is a joke, man. This video is a fucking joke. It has to be.
Sag once it's dealing with anywhere close to that weight. The chair has the usual levers
Same
on
exact
it.
chair.
The left side can lock the back in place or change how forward the back is positioned, which is a nice touch. The right
Recline.
is the usual
Gotcha.
height adjust, and it's
Every
a
chair.
standard max height. The chair includes a mesh headrest that's somewhat adjustable. The arms are one of the biggest annoyances overall, though. They can be lifted up, which is nice for anyone who might play guitar or bass while seated.
very
but they
adjustable.
Can't be adjusted
Very-
in height.
very
This can be a
ergonomic.
problem
You
for
can't
aligning
adjust them
with
in
the
height.
table, so you end up adjusting the height of the entire chair just to get the armrests at the right height. The start height is still better than the Smug Desk chair's armrests, though. This chair breathes well, and it doesn't get hot. It's simple, it's
mesh.
entirely plastic, so again, it's not aging too well after 2 years, but disassembling it and re-greasing the parts would buy some time. We're expecting things to maybe start breaking in an irreparable way by the 4-year mark of ownership, but overall, that's pretty good lifespan for a chair that's considered to be cheap in a sense compared to the other mesh chairs on the market. And this is one that we could reasonably recommend if you're on more of a budget but still want a mesh chair. The last one we'll talk about is the Ergo Chair 2 from Autonomous.ai. This one has a lot of copycats lately, so it's clearly become a popular style from Autonomous.
Okay. This is biased, like opinions in action. So this chair has copycats, but the gaming chairs all come from the same retailer and it's the same chair. No, bro. This chair is made from the same retailer and the same manufacturer or whatever as those copycats. They're selling the same chair, but for cheaper because probably Autonomous marks this chair up higher than it needs to be to make a profit. So no, it's not a copycat. it's the same thing as what you criticize the gaming chair for. Do you see this like mental gymnastics in motion that this dude is performing? This should be an Olympic event, and he would get gold in every category because he is doing so many backflips around this topic to seem as if office chairs can do no wrong. They're even willing to take a $100 shit chair over this gaming chair because they just want to prove a point so bad.
The Ergo Chair 2 is $350 now and is immediately and observedly better in build quality and material choice than the Comine mesh chair. It's also a lot more expensive though. It does have downsides, but to its credit, this is one that 2 people thought was an Aeron chair when they were blindfolded. The Ergo
They don't
chair,
even know
unlike the others,
what an
has a
Aeron
cushion
feels
base,
like.
so that's always a point of concern for compression. Thus far, it's aging well, and it hasn't compressed within the last 8 months of constant use.
8 months,
The arms
hooligan.
are adjustable, making it easier to align with the desk, but they have this horribly annoying defect or design flaw,
They don't
we're
lock.
not sure which, where they don't lock into place.
Yes.
The arms slide forward and back, and although we think they're supposed to lock, ours don't.
No, they
They're
don't.
also
They're not
hard,
supposed
like
to lock.
concrete, so this is one where a $10 armrest cushion
and they're
would have been
hard.
worthwhile, and we're not sure why none of these chair companies offer it.
So we're up to like $300-400 for this office chair, and you're saying armrests don't lock in place, which is a missing feature in cheaper gaming chairs as well. And then when you get to the more expensive gaming chairs, they do lock in place, which is very nice. And this is also my biggest complaint about cheaper armrests. And you're telling me that at this $300 to $400 price point, I can't remember, the armrests are hard as rock. So, and it's got copycats.
The Ergo Chair 2 was
hit this armrest with the hammer.
Lumbar support.
Oh, also, an armrest that's rock hard in an office chair, just buy a $10 pad. It's not a big deal. But an armrest in a gaming chair is like unusable, and it makes you gamer sweat.
And for overall build quality of a mid-range office chair. The most criticized aspect has been its lack of a mesh base, with the team complaining uniformly about feeling hot after working longer hours. The chair has a headrest that's adjustable, but it snaps back horribly loudly with some pressure and sounds like someone's neck is snapping.
It's adjustable. Jesus.
Patrick's verdict has been that he thought he disliked the chair more than he does, so that's sort of praise from us. And Keegan says it's his second choice
Objection.
after the Comine mesh chair. He passed on the Aeron because, as is a valid concern, he didn't get into the weeds of setup enough to ever position it fully properly. The Ergo Chair 2 is one of the best built chairs that we worked with, maybe behind the Aeron, and at $350, that's a pretty good mark to hit. We'd rank it as superior to the gaming chairs in basically every single way.
It's the same complaints. It's the same complaints that you have about the gaming chair. It doesn't breathe. The armrests are hard. They don't lock in place. The headrest is adjustable. It just goes up and down. But I can tell you with experience that if you actually try to use it, it just goes back. And it's unusable. And it's a copy. It's got copycats. It's got copycats. It's not that it's the same chair made by a bunch of different companies, just rebranded with a different logo. It's got copycats, guys. Let's be, they couldn't possibly be coming from the same company. We didn't call to make sure how much this chair costs. We didn't call to see how much we could get it for. But you can go on AliExpress and see this chair and figure it out for yourself. Spoiler alert. It's much cheaper than what they sell it for. Do you see why I hate this video so damn much?
We'd rank it as superior to the gaming chairs in basically every single way, except the armrests, which are flawed in all the same ways those are.
Okay,
the base is
okay,
much
at
more
least they admit
comfortable.
that.
The positioning is better, at least in our opinion, for ergonomics, and the build quality is higher, and it doesn't get anywhere near as hot as the gaming chairs do, while also being softer in just about every
It's a
place
mesh
except
chair.
the armrest. So the Ergo Chair 2 would be our choice if you wanted a cushion for the base rather than mesh, or if you wanted a chair with a larger base in general. We shot everything before this point in about August of 2020, and then we just let it all sit. And in the last 4 months, we've had even more use in the chairs. now December 2020, and our opinions remain the same. The most interesting thing out of all of
Imagine
this
him
was
seeing
how
his pros and
everybody
cons
thought
list for
during the
both.
blind test
Yeah.
that the Aeron chair
Yeah.
was one of the cheaper ones. And each blind test, we spent about 20 minutes with each person from GN. So you only saw a really short part of it, but the intent of each conversation was conveyed pretty fully in the clips we chose. And everyone thought that Aeron one was cheaper. So this maybe speaks to tempering expectations if you are going to buy one, in that you won't sit in it and immediately feel like it's the best chair you've ever sat in, most likely. Now, it's possible that you've only sat in chairs that maybe it's the perfect chair for exactly you out of the box, and in that case, you'd feel great about it. But the real key takeaway here is that these more expensive chairs, the cost isn't necessarily in you sit in it and feel great. It's in there's a lot of mechanics to it that you can adjust. For all this talk about chairs, though, there's one aspect that we haven't brought up yet, and I didn't see brought up in the other office chair reviews that I've read, and that's one of fitness. So
this part, I'm actually really happy that he put this part in there, because this is the real reason. What he's about to say is the real reason.
I found that, personally speaking, getting back into more core strengthening exercises did more for my posture than anything else. And
yes.
Obviously, I'm not talking about going crazy with fitness, because
yes,
I'm not
we can
picture of
tell.
that. But, doing some basics
it's all right.
for core strength really helped a lot in maintaining a better posture for a longer period of time, more so than any single chair upgrade did. So that's maybe something to consider if you're not already doing stuff like that, and
yes.
add that to your routine to encourage a better posture. It has reduced the amount that I've slouched. Now, this all kind of got thrown out the window when a few months before my recent surgery, and then with the surgery.
But I will say, again, there's a great study on posture and how it talks about it's not nearly as important. Well, it's not nearly as much the source of back pain as people make it out to be. And I'll link that later. Like, it's a great study done by physical therapists. I like that he at least brought this up.
With sort of keeping that lower
this
back
is the only part of the video I like.
Your body situated in a way where you're not just like lazily slouching over. It's also important, of course, to remember to get up and walk around or stretch every now and then too throughout the day while you're working. This has helped, just personally speaking, me.
You shouldn't just be sitting in one position for hours and hours.
To get up every now and then and just not look at a screen and stretch out a little bit. So these things can help just as much or more than just a chair upgrade. If you're trying to get the perfect chair, there might be another component to it that that you could potentially be missing. As for the gaming chairs, even though our title is probably don't buy a gaming chair, that's more of an overall warning, but there are some reasons you might still buy it.
I also just want to say, instead of spending $1,200 or $1,500 on a Herman Miller, please buy a new bed instead. I have had back pain for a long time, and nothing, stretches, exercises, like foam rolling, buying a $1,500 chair, none of that has helped me more than buying a nice bed. And if you have the money to buy a $1,500 Herman Miller chair, before you do that, use that same amount of money and buy a bed of an equivalent price. And I am almost guaranteeing that your back pain is going to benefit more from that purchase than a $1,500 Herman Miller chair.
Our guys here likes the white and blue Vertigear chair we have. It's an older one, and clearly they work well for some body types, some people, and that's okay. They also have value in the department of looks that can't really yet be matched by the office chair companies. So maybe you're buying a chair for your teenager who just likes to have the coolest looking setup possible out of all of their friends. In that instance, sure. You can't really do better than a gaming chair for the looks department in most of these sort of computer DIY gaming setup scenarios. For professionals or people who are maybe feel like they're getting a little bit older and want to focus more on the longer term effects of things that they use every day, our recommendation, we are not doctors or physical therapists or anyone really qualified. You should talk to one of those people for firm recommendations for you specifically. But,
yes.
Just speaking from a professional environment, people who use chairs all day to do the work that we do, our recommendation.
Bro, you're not the a professional environment. Let me make my my stance seem a little more worthy of listening to. I know I just said I'm not a professional in any of the things that matter when it comes to recommending a chair, but I am a professional and I do sit in a lot of chairs.
is to consider the office chairs, because even the 200-ish, 280 I think it is now, Comean office chair that we bought, that's one of the cheaper office chairs. It's cheaper than a lot of the name brand gaming chairs out there like Vertigear and Noble and so forth. Even that one has been fought over by my team. I'm probably going to buy more of them because everybody wants to use that chair.
Yes, the chair
so
with
whoever comes in first
with the terrible armrests and the plastic
our opinion
base.
Then, just as
and
computer professionals, is that a cheaper office chair, cheaper being relative here, compared to a similarly priced gaming chair, seems to, on average, provide more benefit than the gaming chair would. That might not be true for everyone. That's fine. Please enjoy the chair that you buy if you like it. We don't want people to feel buyer's remorse over it.
That's the
you
one
like your chair.
take from this video that I can agree with too. The
keep
second,
in mind that it's easy to buy a chair that's too wide, too narrow, or needs adjustment that might not be possible with that chair. So take the dimensions seriously into account when you're shopping for a chair. Look at the dimensions of the seat.
yes, like the gaming chair that's way too small for
and
like
then determine
half
if
the
it's
people
a
that
seat that's
sat
going
in
to be
it
too
in
wide
this
or too
video.
narrow. Because in our search for the right chair for everybody, that's been one of the #1 factors, where having a chair that's too wide encourages sort of leaning to one side or the other and bending your spine in a way that's maybe not great. So that's something to nail down and just take the dimensions seriously. There's more to it than just whether it has
Did he mention
mesh
Secret
or
Lab
not,
once in this video?
unlike a lot
No.
of
But what he
cases.
did say is
It
that
does
he has
come down
tried
to
Vertigear
the
and Noble
sizing of it,
chairs, and
the
just
sizing
trying
of your
2 brands
desk,
of chairs
and
was
other
enough to
factors,
know
human
what
factors.
like
So that's it
everything
for
of
this one.
what
Thank you for
gaming
watching.
chairs
As
have to
always,
offer.
Subscribe for more. You can go to store.gamersnexus.net to pick up some of our products. We will not be selling the gaming chair though. Or you can go to patreon.com/gamersnexus. We'll see you all next time.
All right, there you go. So, to summarize, this video sucks. It's full of complete bias bullshit, and I showed over and over again how their criticisms of the gaming chairs were not done, you know, in an equal way to the office chairs. And in some cases, the office chair had less features and less adjustability, but they still remained, you know, in the opinion of that office chair is better than this gaming chair. And I just can't understand how anyone watching this could not see that. And this is the video that is sent to me all the time, all the damn time. And if I try to tell someone about gaming chairs on Reddit or something, or some platform, this is the video that is linked to me over and over and over again. And I can't stand it. Thank you for watching.